What's up, boys? We're back with some more Spell Brigade Update 11. There's this new wizard who has a chance to add a random infusion onto any spell every time they're cast, so we're going to try and build around that today. We already checked out the full imp build, so we're going to be adding in some spells with it this time. Necro Whirl would be extremely good. Solar Pulse is pretty good if we can get that one early on. If we get either birds or plants early on. Oh yeah, one other thing, I wanted to maximize the stats that increase the number of hits we can do. So spellcast speed, duration, size if they apply to any of our spells would be cool. So yeah, if we find plants or birds early on, we could try to do a bit of a full summoner build with those. Oh yeah, I think we do need to get Solar Pulse early on to really get decent value out of that. That's basically the Garlic Aura spell, but if you get it as like your fourth spell, it's going to be pretty hard to get the size of that up to enough to actually hit a decent number of enemies with it. Crit chance is decent for some of the artifacts like the leeching thing, but we have luck. And that could give us more cast speed and duration and stuff later on. There's some new augmentations on, I think, Rocky Road and Solar Pulse and Moonerang. Oh yeah, Moonerang, that augmentation sounds really cool. So once your Moonerang returns to you, it will keep traveling through you for an entire extra throw. So you can do a lot of extra hits with that. That would actually be pretty cool with the elemental infusion stuff. Got a little dark guy there. Let's take the big movement speed. That's always a very useful stat in this game, I feel like. Until the very, very end game, once you're completely surrounded. But helps a lot with avoiding stuff. And especially on hardcore, when there's those waves of enemies, which are sometimes impossible to avoid if you don't have any movement speed increases. They do a pretty huge amount of your HP, but we got lucky and had the opening right where I was anyways. And then one other thing I wanted to see is, I know that once you have two infusions, you can still get a third on top of them from the random effect, but I'm curious if you can stack 3 of the same element, because in the little mini patch before this, they actually buffed the acid and double acid infusions to have a much stronger damage amplify effect. So I'm kind of curious about a triple acid effect and a triple ice effect, and how those would play out. So I'm going to be trying to get those combos on some of the spells as well. It's going to be pretty hard for me to actually hit those things. We might want to try and drag some of the detonators into them. Okay, so unfortunately we didn't really get anything cool here. This kind of does the same thing as the imps. I guess we could see how that works. Whether like each section of it has a random? Okay, so it's a decent sized section that gets the random infusion, looks like. Maybe we just go for the full Don't Chase Me Bro builds. Ether Beam kind of would have worked, and it probably would have looked cool, but it's just really hard to get a decent number of targets on that, since you can only add them through the augmentations. More luck. Spikes that deal critical damage or an additional minion. We should probably go into the Havoc since that gets a nice bonus as our base spell. And just doubling the number of effects that can apply is pretty big. I don't think I can avoid all of that. Needed to go off to the left up there. Duration, yeah, let's take an epic for that. Cast speed works, size, I don't think that works on the Imp. When we did the solo run for that, it never appeared as a global upgrade. So we don't get much out of that currently. Cast speed, luck, more luck. Size, that seems fine. Make it easier to hit with them. I wouldn't mind some movement speed, I just don't feel like flat health does that much. Although it would let you tank the walls of enemies if you mess up like that. But for the most part it just doesn't do anything, and I don't think there are any items that synergize with it, like with armor at least. And I guess it might actually improve your damage with Rocky Road, since you can drop the trails more. So I guess that's kind of cool. Decent damage. I think I'd rather have cast speed if they're close. And I think we're okay on movement. Well, it's an epic global, whatever. We'll go super fast this run. Too bad I wasn't the actual Rocky Road wizard for all that movement speed. More luck. So we'll probably keep pumping the Imp here. Ooh, Moonerang. Okay, we can work with that. Third Solar Pulse, probably a bit late for that. More luck. 22. Although I guess we kind of have to get a bunch of augments from Moonerang to make it really cool. And it's kind of late for that now. We'll have to do a run with the wizard who starts with it at some point, I suppose. I don't feel like pickup distance is super helpful with all the magnets that constantly drop. More movement speed? Nah. That wouldn't be bad. We don't really have any armor, but some decent damage. 80%, pretty big. And we have the movement speed to absorb that. Region, yeah, we could use a bit of that. Blue XP gain. Luck. Any day now we'll start getting some big rarity. I don't know when that is, but it has to happen at some points. Speed. Range crit chance. I should probably take that, but that'll help us hit more enemies whenever it's elementally infused. Cast speed into an infusion, that works. So we'll go acid to try and get the triple acid on that one then. Fire is probably the least interesting, I feel like, just applying it damage over time. We definitely want that. We didn't get the new thing and already had that one. So we should probably grab a copy of that since we already have all the augmentations for it. cast speed, sure. Not really in love with any of these. These two can be decent with augments, but I think they're purely single targets. So I guess we'll probably just take that for something that we're not really putting a ton of investment into. It'll at least have some AoE. And I guess it does fit the Don't Chase Me Bro builds. Probably go for the size there, that'll help it land more hits, and it's one of the closer ones to getting another infusion. Yeah, if we just always throw the Moonerang behind us, then we have 4 spells all hitting behind me at the same time. Big size, sure. Oh, we should have our second chest up by now, probably. I'll go size here if they're close enough. I just want to get tons of infusions everywhere. Big size, yep. Big damage. I will take that at 2 higher. Nice duration, that works. Towards the middle bottom, I don't think we can really grab that yet. Too many enemies. So that would combine with the other thing. I would lose like 7.5% movement, which isn't too bad. Definitely not one of those. I think the leech thing is best in slot, but are we likely to get something better than that? Probably not. So 100% up to 131. We'll need to make sure to get some movement speed every once in a while though. I'll take a size if they're close enough. So it had that one as well. I feel like we really should just go into the Impish because the more augmentations you get, the better each of them is. I guess the Rocky Road augmentations aren't really that interesting for the build we're trying to do here. Too bad we didn't get Moonrang a bit earlier, that one would have been pretty cool. So, damage or cast speed. I'm just gonna grab some cast speed, I think. It's already getting pretty hard to avoid them. In fact, I can't even avoid those guys. But I guess if you can't avoid them, then the armor reduction actually does come into play. I was just hoping we would be able to completely avoid them for a while longer. But we are getting pretty close to the boss. And it feels like you usually get to a point where the enemies are just completely overwhelming, and you just kind of have to focus on surviving for a little bit until the boss comes out and wipes them all for you. Size, yep. Size into an infusion. So we can try for the triple ice on this one. I do like lightning as a combination with everything else, just to spread the other elemental effects throughout the giant horde of enemies with the extra chain lightning effects. Purple damage, should probably grab that. Damage there, that's fine. Toss a reroll. Cast speed works. Size here if they're close enough. Ew. We'll do movement to keep that high since we are constantly getting the armor on level up and lowering benefits. Cast speed. Cast speed or a global. Should probably take a good global upgrade that's high rarity. Nice cast speed. Cast speed. That's getting close to the second one. Oh my god, those things chase you forever. Another global. Jesus, what? Homing missiles make it pretty hard for a very short-range build like mine, I will say. Ah, I got stuck on the wall. Probably have okay crit damage. We can take some duration there. Try and finish off the final infusion for it. I still haven't seen the new boss yet. Big damage. One off of an infusion there. Oh god, it's faster. Stop. It was just a prank, bro. Decent crit chance, but also cast speed to get more infusions out. Cast speed, sure. Size works. There's also a cast speed there. He's still shooting. I've gotta have enough for that now, right? I want to see the new Moonring thing. It's healing, enemy with the most health. 525, YOLO. Here we go, an additional pass in the opposite direction. I wonder if you could get multiple copies of that. That would actually be really cool. Decent damage, or some range. Give me that range. Ice and fire, I'll go there. They'll give us another chance at the triple ice spell. Purple damage, sure. Cast speed and get the last infusion. So we can't get the triple acid for that. Probably just go dark. I don't think that really does a whole lot. Additional damage. Yeah, we'll just corrupt them to fight for us. Also reduce the resistances before that, so once they turn on each other, they'll do even more damage. Kind of hard to see exactly where the enemies close to you are when you have an insane number of imps behind you. And there's just like a lot of spell effects playing as you run around. Okay, I guess we're just dead soon. Doesn't really feel like I have a lot of room to move around right now. Damage. It would be hard to heal myself with that. I should probably just take that and not risk it. That little ice effect right there, it's just permanently over there. Size, sure. seems like a lot of size, and I can't really tell if the graphic for the spell itself is actually getting bigger. Probably kill some of those if I get some decent minerals on them. I can at least slow them down anyways. Permanent frost thing over there. Looks like that's like the graphic on the detonators right as they die while they're under the effects of the minerals. I guess we could take some more armor if it's blue. 81% damage. Oh my god, I might have messed up. So those can definitely spawn right next to you. I feel like we probably don't even have enough time for that quest now. It's just so hard to avoid everything at this point. I don't know how I'm gonna have enough time to clean that. I just can't even move. Try and pull them really far away so that we can try to get one more decent pass and hopefully finish it off with that. I don't think we're going to be able to get a second one afterwards. That wave kind of made it a lot worse. That's really unfortunate. I do have one life left. Big Caspian. Please! It's been so close. I guess we'll take some Moonerang since we have one for that. have 43% movement speed still, and they're almost as fast as me. We have a bunch of ice infusions. And I think we're dead. There's nowhere to move through there. Gotta take a hit. Oh, I barely squeezed through. Jesus, that's so many. I don't think we can do that quest. That seems crazy with how they're spawning now. Oh, definitely can't get up there. XP might be kind of late, but it's a legendary and we don't have much of it yet. I don't see how you would do that quest at this point. I guess if you sacrifice a life, maybe. I guess if I'm gonna try for that, we should do it soon. How can I get out and make it worth it? Guaranteed crit, big crit damage. Oh, you can! That's sick. Okay, I should definitely take this, but I want to see how that works. Feels like the extra pass is extremely short range. Like it's barely going past me there. Maybe because I'm running in the same direction at the same time? It seems okay if I'm standing still, I guess. It might have just been because I was moving. Optimize or cast speed. Let's grab the infusion there. And we'll try for another acid setup with that. Quite have a revive left, and I'll probably need one to finish this. Can I do that? Not quite. I'm gonna die if I do that. Okay, we'll have to wait for that to finish it probably. Unless we can pull them very far away then. Slow anything that's like funneling through those points. And then I'm probably going to die because I don't think I can avoid them up there. I should probably take the imp out of these. Oh, there's a tiny little opening there. Okay, not bad. Didn't even need to revive that. I feel like as you get a lot of duration on the imps, that one probably isn't very good. First attack is a critical hit, but they last over 8 seconds now. I wonder if they should just make it like maybe 1 in every 5 attacks is a guaranteed crit or something, so that it keeps working with like your other stats that you'll be scaling up. Cast speed, yep. Very little room to move now. Have one revive back, and we're probably gonna need it soon, with the way they are spawning now. Okay, that's why I was getting so insane. Base cast speed, yep. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to even hit the boss with this many enemies out at once. Like, how do I even get close to them? Duration, I suppose. And then size would work. Oh, it actually shows you the arrows and what it works on. Why doesn't that work on the Moonerang? Doesn't that have like the local upgrade for that? That's kind of weird. That one's 2 off. Let's try and get that before I die here. Yeah, how the heck do I damage this guy? Even the crab guys are almost as fast as me now. Even with all of those ice augments. Or infusions, I guess. Okay, we can get a tiny little bit of damage over here. And then I have to get very far away again. I think the enemies are just going to ramp up too much. I just can't really hurt them at this point. There's so many of them. And they're so fast. Finish that off with cast speed. Sure, let's see what we got. So that was ice, and then we got the second one there. So we can potentially have 3 ice on it if I get lucky and it works like that. It should at least slow them down a lot, but they're still extremely fast, my god. And I can't hurt him at all. I've stayed close to him as long as I could, and his HP hasn't even moved. Jesus. Oh, I'm screwed. How is his HP not moving after all of those imps hitting him? we actually are building up a little bit of stagger. Nothing really matters here. Just cast speed. Oops. Didn't see that one until too late. Kind of hard to see them with a massive horde of bugs right next to each other. There's just so many enemies, I literally can't get close to them, man. I'll go size there. I guess his HP moved slightly. Yay! Moral victory! Those are already done. That'll probably do the most damage to the boss here. But I can no longer move. Bro, chill out. I'm actually doing more damage now that he's getting fast enough to actually run into my ground effects a bit. But there is no way we're killing that. Definitely too late for that. I'll just grab a little bit of size. I can't even outrun the crowds now. Goodbye. 93% damage, we could barely even tickle him. Probably needed some more crit stats there. 13 million, 17 on the Rocky Road, not bad. 9 million on the Moonerang, which we got pretty late. 2 augments there, none there. So we actually could have done some stuff with those. But that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.